Hello, YouTube people. We're at Boutique Amps Distribution, which is a complicated name to say. It is. It's definitely not the most.
Doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, it really doesn't. And then if you abbreviate it, bad. That's just.
I know. Yeah, we don't want to call these amps bad.
They didn't think about that.
No.
I'm here with Mike Soldano, the man behind Soldano, I think, probably. Probably. Makes sense.
Sure. We'll go with that. Yeah, let's run that.
And last year, we talked to Mike at the NAMM show about bringing back Soldano, which is now under the umbrella of Boutique Amps Distribution, which means they're being built again in the place where Friedman, Morgan, Tone King, Wampler, Bogner pedals, blah, 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 all these brands are being handled, which is a great place because they can do everything in-house. So when it comes to prototyping or whatever, they've got all the machines. They probably can whip out one of these things in a day and a half.
They can.
With the final panel and everything. And
they can do everything right here. It's awesome.
And later today, we hope we can shoot a video with the beautiful ladies doing the Tolexing, showing us what they do. We want to try it ourselves, Harry Holden and I, behind the camera. We want to do that and fail, because I assume that putting Tolex on an amp is an art form.
It is an art form, and they do it really well here. As you'll notice by these wonderful corners that are just seamless.
You can't see it.
You can't see it. No,
so later beautiful. You can take a look at our corners and they will be horrible. So we want to do that. So at the NAMM show, we talked about Boutique acquiring Soldano and taking on the legacy, but you're still on the team.
Yep.
And well, now it's been a year and they're here.
We're finally in production.
So we just talked to Peter Ahrens earlier, and I assume you and him, you worked pretty closely throughout the year to bring back the SLO.
Yes.
Is it what do people say slow or SLO?
I say SLO.
Okay.
Yeah, because it stands for Super Lead Overdrive.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we have the
new SLO 30.
SLO 30. So we'll talk about that in a sec, but let's talk about the 100, I guess, or the standard SLO. And there was talks last year about how close it can be to the original.
Right.
Because something about you can't get the original output transformers. And I was always thinking, who cares? Because we have you, we have Peter, we have their capabilities. Even if we change that bit or some other bit, you guys together will come up with an amazing product.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna come up with a good result no matter what the materials put in front of us are.
And so whatever was amazing and maybe contemporary in the 90s and late 80s, when did the SLO come out?
Late 80s. Actually, mid 80s. I built the first one in 1985.
Yeah, so, maybe possibly now we can improve it in bits.
Exactly.
And I talked to Peter yesterday, and apparently there were tiny changes done. And we have the same amp, but
it's evolved.
It's evolved.
Yeah.
So as far as I can tell, and please tell me if I'm wrong about this, he said when you cranked it, which how often do you do that with a 100-watt amp? But
right.
But if you did, then the power amp added a little bit of a fuzzy undertone in the low end, which is probably something only freaking Peter hears because that's him. Okay. He's a nerd. So that was addressed.
Yes.
And something about you wanted it a little bit brighter, a little bit more open,
a little more focused, maybe. Yeah. And so basically, that all came about with a change to a different speaker. We're now using Celestion Vintage 30s, and they sound just amazing. And for all those of you out in YouTube world that are immediately going to call me a hypocrite because I used to outwardly be vocal against Vintage 30s because of the upper mid-range, that all got fixed here with this new output transformer. So now we have a good marriage. We have this match of an output transformer that plays well with Vintage 30s, whereas my old output transformers, I will be the first to tell you, did not sit well, at least to my ears. And of course, sound is very subjective, but it never, with the Vintage 30, always seemed to be kind of working against it. This is a match made in heaven. I mean, these sound amazing. And so to address that first major change, for everybody out there in amp world to know, You can cry all you want about no more DeYoung transformers, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, DeYoung will not make those transformers anymore, even if you brought them wheelbarrows full of gold. So you have to just get over it. And we got over it because we just kept working with various magnetics companies, told them what we wanted, said, this is what it has to meet. This is what it has to do. And I have to be honest with you, I think the output transformer we're using now, in many ways, exceeds what the DeYoung did in that
it's blowing my mind because
it fits with more speakers. It's amazing.
Because what kind of nerd would you have to be to say, oh, I would totally buy the new SLO, but it doesn't have the same output transformer.
Right.
When I'm hearing this, I'm like, dude, fucking play guitar
Yeah.
and make music with.
Right.
I mean, no.
Yeah.
What
Leave the engineering to me and Peter. You know
what another amazing output transformer, which isn't the same, is gonna make this bad? No,
No, that's right.
So that is just that's nerd. That's for the guy who talks about amps but doesn't play them.
That's true. Exactly.
Okay. So I assume there was always talks about UFX loop, which you
Yes.
always had at levels that were playing with rack gear, but not
Yeah.
necessarily with pedals. I had that run in when with the one of the Jet City amps.
Yeah.
And then people said, no, that's what Mike always did, and it always was kind of an issue. I would assume that has been addressed.
It has. You know, that was something. Something I fought through, over 3 decades was I never could please everybody when it came to loop. I could have these guys in pro gear, praising me, thinking it was the best thing they ever heard. The pedal guys, not so much. And then I would make mods, and that would make the pedal guys happy. But then the pro gear guys would complain. Well, this new loop is awesome. It's for one thing, it's been moved in the circuit. It's times have changed. People use amps differently, and so I've now realized that putting the loop after the masters is actually a really smart idea. And so this new loop is post master,
Okay.
which is really cool because now it gives you a lot more control over the signal that you're sending to your effect, because now you can use the master volumes as level controls. So you've got that. And then the other thing that the SLO 100 has is it has a return level control on the back so that you can control the return level of your effects. And so that actually also acts sort of like a master volume, and it's foot switchable. So now you have all this capability. One, it's compatible with any kind of effect you can plug into it. It's dead quiet and transparent, like nothing gets lost going through this loop. It's like when you engage it and disengage it, you don't hear any difference.
Joe Morgan would very likely disagree because he's a purist. We just talked about effects loop not being in his amps.
Yeah.
So we're going to set up a little mud pool outside and have Mike and Joe go to town in it. Yeah.
We're wrestling over this one.
Effects loop versus no effects loop.
Yeah. And if you don't want the loop,
I saw a switch.
There's a switch on the amp.
There you go.
Turn it off. And
That's Joe Morgan.
Yeah. And the switch is foot switchable on the SLO. So now, even if you don't plug any effects into the amp at all, and you just want to have a solo boost, what you do is you use the effects level return as a kind of a master volume.
And then you click it in.
Click it in and out. Exactly. And that gives you a built-in...
So it's more than just an effects loop.
more than a loop.
Way to go.
It's really cool.
So I want to talk about something that, of course, you can't say, but I can.
Okay.
Because I've talked with my friends Andrea and Fabrizio from Italy, great amp designers, and in their research about amps, they found out that at least the preamp stage of the SLO and the preamp stage of amps that well, the rectifiers from the M kind, are very, very similar. And we're not going to go into how they got that or whatever, but the point is, it shows you something about branding and marketing in the music industry, because the Soldano SLO was never hailed or seen as the metal or heavy rock amp. It was seen as that's the thing you get for the Fusion elite players, Vi, Satriani, Luke Heather, all these 80s guys, Santana, I think, yeah. Everyone loved that thick, round lead tone. And so it... Thank you, man without a penis. So, it was seen as the lead amp. And therefore, that's what you bought when you wanted that. And then Mesa managed to brand their amp, which is very similar.
Very similar.
Let's say very similar, okay,
Yeah.
to this. But they marketed with the tread plate, and they came into a couple of bands that were playing the heavy stuff. And all of a sudden, it was the rhythm monster for the heavy people.
Yeah.
But the thing is, essentially, very similar amps.
Very similar.
So it's all about branding, because you could never get them into the metal crowd, the heavy crowd, the Nickelbacky kind of really heavy stuff. And it was always, the Soldano was always the amp for the leads.
Yeah, it was a shredder amp.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, but that tells you so much about marketing and who you work with as a band, because the M's, took off. The rectifier became synonymous with the heavy shit amp, when in reality, there's another amp out there that can do that exact same thing, possibly more. And I wish that you guys understood, now that we have these back, that this isn't what you might remember from back then. And some of the new guys that don't even know what this is because you weren't aware of it, this is a much more flexible amp than what it can do in terms of leads.
Yeah.
This can be brutal. Peter said yesterday the punch is unreal.
It is unreal, yeah.
So we're going to check that out right now. But I want you guys to know that essentially this is very similar to one of the most popular amps out there. And this is an ultra popular amp, but I think it is more than what it has been branded back then.
Yeah, and the thing also to remember is this amp was around before that brand.
Yes.
Yeah, the brand was around, but before that amp made it for them.
But you had a connection and network to the lead players, whereas they somehow got into branding it as the heavy rhythm thing.
Yeah,
and
I think the grunge thing really helped them there. I think though, because I remember when I returned to Seattle, which is my hometown, from LA in the early mid '90s, I looked around and everybody was playing those amps, and I'm like.
And a grunge player, just because of the feel of the branding, would have never been caught dead with a Soldano.
No, they wouldn't. No, in fact, that'd be like the antithesis. That'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I play grunge. I can't have an amp like that.
Because that's pretty, that's refined.
It's refined, exactly.
Look at the place one, so I can't freaking...
That's right. That's a lot of, there's a lot to that.
So the sound, to them, inconsequential. It's how they have been seen, how they wanted to be seen, and what brand they would want to be associated with, which is so fucking stupid.
It really is.
I'm sorry, okay?
It is. So, it is. And that's why it really kills me, and why I love it so much, that Matt Pike of High on Fire plays Soldano SLO 100s. And here's a guy that's super heavy. And he was like, his ears told him which amp to buy. He wasn't swayed by marketing. He just went for the amp that got the sound. And so
me as a guy who
I love Matt for that.
Me as a guy who does marketing, shouldn't say, don't believe in marketing, listen to your ears. But yeah, I'm telling you, listen to your ears.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is, here we've got let's start with this. Yeah. Let's get some sounds. Here we've got the 30. What, where, why is it different than the 100, other than that it has a 30?
That's basically the only thing difference is the power section. Yeah, so to maybe back up just a little bit, a lot of your viewers will remember, of course, that at my 25th anniversary in 2012, I put out a Hot Rod 25. Mm-hmm. And that amp was essentially a little baby SLO, except because I was trying to fit it into such a small chassis, I took out the clean crunch switch and the bright normal switch that the SLO normally has. Same preamp gain structure. I just had it hardwired in the crunch mode, hardwired in the normal mode on the bright switch. So you could get all those SLO sounds, but it didn't have the flexibility necessarily. Like you couldn't get that totally clean sound, which you're going to find when we start playing this, that this can actually play crystal clear clean as well as heavier than heavy needs to ever be. So it's got a lot of versatility and a lot of range. So when I joined up with Boutique, since we were starting from a clean piece of paper on all the production stuff, it's like I already had these other products, but we wanted to kind of like go, okay, we're changing, the brand is changing hands. What can we do to evolve, be an evolution of any of these products? This is a good time to make any changes we want to make. And so with the SLO 30, we wanted it to be literally a small wattage SLO. We wanted all the features an SLO has, And we wanted to have all the good stuff that the SLO had, but just with a smaller power section and a more compact, lighter weight little package. So it wouldn't fit into the little Hot Rod 25 box anymore because we needed room for some more controls. So this new design is still small, still portable, still easy to put in your car, but it's a little bit larger so that we were able to put these switches back in, which is what makes
it's important.
Yeah, it's important. So we have all the same voicing and controls that an SLO always had. And then the other thing that's kind of fun is we added a manual switch on the amp where you can switch channels without a foot switch, which was something else that back in my day when I designed the original SLO and all my original amps, I was always of the opinion like, well, of course they're going to take their foot switch, so why bother? Wrong. Well, that's right. So this was something that I get ribbed a lot for because it's like, okay, Mike, you finally realize you're supposed to put a switch on the amp.
I work in a studio. Why in the world do I want to?
And that's the
I
other
want to
thing.
be able to go to the amp.
Studio guys told me we don't want a foot switch sitting here. We just want to be able to go over and flip the switch. So this is a new feature. From here over, it's the classic SLO.
So this is this in
exactly.
So okay, we already know. I asked yesterday. These will be $4,000.
Yep.
It's not inexpensive, but
It's a lot of bang for the buck.
It's a boutique amp, distribution built SLO 100. I mean, it's an amazing amp, and apparently for $200 extra, the standard's going to be black. For $200 extra, you
Any
can
color
design
you want.
anything you want.
Yeah.
Any grill, any Tolex, any color, any panel. So make it custom.
Yeah.
Because you know what? This is pretty, but for me, my Soldano is purple. I even have purple chicken heads on it.
Nice. I applaud that.
It had to be. That was like my dream.
Good for you. I appreciate that.
First thing I did is like Googled purple chicken heads. Of course, these knobs. God, if we could get these in purple.
I know. I would love to get those caps in purple. Wouldn't that be awesome? You betcha.
We need to be able to do that.
I know.
So this is $4,000 plus $200 for the custom. How much is this?
I believe it's going to be $2,400. A lot of bang for the buck there.
Let's try it out. And by the way, there's going to be another video on Harry Holden's channel, Harry and the Guitar, where I'm pretty sure, because he's the indie guy who doesn't need the high gain stuff, he wants to tickle out some cleans and some overdrivey tones. Because I'm going to challenge him, Harry behind the camera. Go ahead and find out how indie compatible the SLO is, because I think that could be a cool video.
There we go.
I'm playing this fucking mind-blowing Metro D that weighs nothing and has this speed up. Oh my God, what a dream. And I love my Metro D, but it's not that pretty. This is... Damn, I should have taken this one.
Okay, so we're in the normal channel.
Wait, we have... Good enough. Thick. That's a that's a pedal compatible channel.
That's it.
Say that.
Pedal compatible channel. Yeah, you gotta say it.
It's not easy.
No, you gotta say it slow. It's a tongue twister.
God, that's gonna work really well with pedals.
Yeah.
That's bright off, is it?
Bright's on. So bright off is here.
That's almost...
Play jazz with this amp. Where does this guy go?
Yeah, that's a jazz amp right there.
There's your jazz
Put
amp.
that bright back in.
Okay, here we go.
It's not a Fender, but it's good. It's
fat.
Some delay in the amazing effects loop now.
Yes.
And some reverb, and all of a sudden... And if you really want to go into the times when this thing was designed, chorus.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the 80s was all about chorus. Chorus everywhere.
You have to know that this guitar is lean. They're very lean in the bass. Okay, that's nice. So that's the channel 1?
Yes, that's channel 1. So now we're still in channel 1. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring the master down a little bit. I'm going to flip this to the crunch mode. This is going to increase the gain of this channel.
Okay.
And so now we're into crunchy mode.
Oh, God! I'm having fun. There's no effects on it! And that's gain is where now?
Oh, we're about 4. We're not even cranked up yet. See,
On the clean crunch
clean,
shell.
yeah.
Give me everything you got.
Okay, there we go.
Came a little bit of my pants. Oh, that spankiness that's still there. The gain doesn't trash it.
Yeah.
That is
That's the thing.
ridiculous.
That's the thing that I think, if anything, like the Soldano sound is known for, is the articulation. You can still have a ton of gain and still it'll articulate.
See, because I always thought that mine, which is a hot rod, is kind of the same, but it's not.
Oh, but it is. It just doesn't have the flexibility. No, yours is hardwired in this mode. It's hardwired in the crunch.
But it is.
And it's hardwired to the bright switch
But it is
on.
much softer. It doesn't have that spankiness.
Oh, okay. Well, and I think some of that comes from the depth knob as well, because this gives it that kunk kunk and gives it that.
That is ridiculous. Folks, put your 7-string fan fret guitar on that. This is a gent monster right there. That setting for the genty guys, for the gentlemen out there. I want my mayonnaise on that, because that's going to be whoa. Where can this go? Lead me. Come on.
Okay, well now we're going to go to the other channel then. So that now so that was the normal channel. Now of course the thing that put the Soldano brand on the map 35 years ago or so was this. So here we go. Mm-hmm.
The articulation is there on the attack, and then it smooths out.
It swells.
And then it's like, whoa!
Yeah.
But with the at the beginning, it's like, then, whoa. Not warmed up and I suck. And that's why it's good. Fully auto tube, who gives a shit? it's not in D and I'm playing it wrong, but fuck. I could do this all day. Holy crapola, what time is it? Okay, you know what? Enough sounds. If this sounds even more, this is... No, go away, Siri. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people. We're gonna give Harry and his guitar a chance now to experience that because he's all like, you know, Fender Twin, all the wussy stuff. And, you know...
Poor guy.
He's got a freaking Plexi and a Twin and a Deluxe and nothing else counts. I want him to experience
Let's do it.
this. And then, Harry, say again that you need a Twin. That's all I'm saying. Mike, thanks. This was, again,
a pleasure.
you gave me tinglies in the pants. Wow. This is mind-blowing. And I'll put links below if they are available, and if not, then later. Wow, Soldano's back and it's gonna make you happy. Go to Harry and the Guitar and watch his video with Mike, whatever's gonna happen there. Links below and animals at the end.
Awesome.